Hello friend, I want to tell you about the Škoda Superb car. You don't have to look for a premium upper-class car to enjoy huge space and high travel comfort. All you need is an overgrown middle class in the form of the Škoda Superb. In terms of spaciousness, the car beats almost all sedans on the market hands down, and at the same time doesn't drain the owner's wallet. The Škoda Superb 2 is classified differently, but due to its design similarity to the Passat, it is assigned to segment D. Thus, it becomes a competitor not only to its German donor, but also to, among others, the Ford Mondeo, Opel Insignia, Renault Laguna, Peugeot 508, Mazda 6, Toyota Avensis or Hyundai i40. None of these and other rivals offer such space for 4 passengers and luggage as the Škoda. None is as practical either. The biggest advantage of the Superb, however, is the second row of seats. Although the bench is not more comfortable than in the competition, there is plenty of space. Few sedans on the market can compete with the Škoda, and we are even talking about F-segment limousines. The passengers of the sofa in the rich versions are pampered by an air conditioning system exclusively for them. There is only one fly in the ointment in this barrel of honey: the small width of the cabin and the high threshold in the middle of the floor, which prevents the fifth person from traveling comfortably. The Škoda Superb is structurally based on the Passat B6, and unlike its predecessor, it only has multi-link suspension at the rear. The front is a McPherson strut, which is held by a steel, not aluminum, wishbone to distinguish it from the Volkswagen. The Superb's handling is very good while maintaining high comfort. The car could be equipped with switchable 4-wheel drive, and one of the more interesting versions is the Combi Outdoor with slightly raised suspension, underbody protection and attractive-looking bumpers. Engines. In the Superb, 4-cylinder engines dominate, and the largest V6 unit with a capacity of 3.6 liters is rarely seen. It was available with standard 4x4 drive and automatic DSG gearbox. The 2.0 TFSI with 200 HP was configured with this gearbox. However, customers most often chose smaller petrol engines, such as the 1.8 TSI, 160 hydrogen phosphide, which was available with drive on 2 or 2 axles, and the 1.4 TSI, 125 hydrogen phosphide, always with front-wheel drive. The 2.0 TDI diesels, 140-170 hydrogen phosphide, also gained considerable popularity, both in versions with pump injectors and the common rail system. Interestingly, for a short period the old 1.9 TDI engine with 105 HP was also offered, which was replaced by the smaller 1.6 TDI with the same power. Like petrol engines, diesels were also combined with 4x4 drive, but only 2.0. Which engine to choose? You have 3 really good engines to choose from, provided you choose a model year from 2011 onwards, although to be on the safe side it's best to start with a 2012. At that time, 2-liter CR diesels and 2-liter third-generation TFSI petrols were already being installed. Both units provide very good performance, with the diesel burning half as much fuel. Unfortunately, while the TDI can be had with a manual gearbox or DSG and with 4-wheel drive or 2 to choose from, the petrol is only configured with an automatic. The drive using the Haldex clutch does not cause problems, but the DSG automatic requires quite expensive repairs after about 150 to 200,000 kilometers. You have to reckon with this and calculate it into your initial costs, even if you buy a fully functional car. You should be cautious about the weaker petrol engines 1.4 TSI and 1.8 TSI. The first has problems with the timing system, but if it's a newer EA211 unit with a belt, you shouldn't worry about that. In addition, it's very economical and dynamic enough for a calm, safe ride in a large Superb. It's hard to recommend it to everyone. It's best to check how it drives yourself. Better performance is provided by the 1.8 TSI engine, which is actually a twin of the 2.0 and was also radically improved in 2011. Unfortunately, we still do not trust it. However, even if the engine consumes oil, This is its only serious fault. Despite everything, we do not recommend it. You can trust smaller diesels. The 1.6 TDI had injection system failures, but overall it's a good engine. It has little power, so don't expect dynamics, but it can satisfy your appetite with 5 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers. What's more, in the Greenline version presented in 2014 it is even better, and with some skills you can easily go down to 4L, 100 km. On the road, of course, but these are still great values. For conservatives, we recommend the successful 1.9 TDI engine, which was offered only in the first years of production and without a DPF filter. This is a good alternative for someone looking for a diesel, but is only interested in the first years. Don't expect lower fuel consumption than in the 2.0 TDI, 140 hydrogen phosphide. Unfortunately, smaller diesels do not fit the big Superb. They have too little power and too little torque. They can only do well in the city and when driving around the house. That is why we do not recommend them, or we recommend them conditionally after a test drive and a conscious decision. The third engine, next to the 2.0 TFSI, TDI, which you can safely take and which fits the car, is the 3.6 V6 petrol. This is the most dynamic engine in the model, reaching 260 HP and 350 Nm. It works great especially on the road, because in the city it will suck out a dozen or so liters of petrol from the tank for every 100 kilometers. The dynamics it provides put the Superb 2 on a par with more powerful Audis, BMWs and Mercedes. It easily accelerates to 250 km per hour and reaches the first 100 in 6.5 seconds. It has standard 4-wheel drive and a DSG gearbox. It also has direct fuel injection, but it doesn't cause any major problems provided you don't torture it around town. However, it is worth taking into account the high costs during service and repairs. It is best to regularly check the timing chain drive. What's broken? The Škoda Superb 2 is generally a reliable car, although it has its minor faults. One of them is the rapid wear of the liftback boot lid actuators, because it is heavy. The electrical harness also wears out. Another thing is that after a rear-end collision, it is difficult to repair. It is best to replace the whole thing with a new or used one. After a more severe collision, the rear of the car must be rebuilt very well so that the division mechanism remains functional. Another issue is the accelerated wear of the axle shafts, and specifically the drive joints. This applies especially to high-torque engines. The body is durable and well protected against corrosion, but the same cannot be said about the pseudo-chromes on the body. The interior stands the test of time, although leather upholstery is more durable than fabric. If the car has a sunroof, the channel draining water should be cleaned regularly, because it will pour into the cabin. The electrics do not break down, apart from occasional failures of the wiper mechanism. The suspension is durable, although if the estate car is heavily loaded, you should expect accelerated wear of the springs and shock absorbers at the rear. For work, it is worth looking for a relatively young Superb outdoor. The rear wishbones do not cause problems, while the front ones can be easily regenerated by replacing only the bushes and pins. The Superb does not break down often, but only the diesel will be cheap in everyday use. It is a fact that the 1.4 TSI petrol engine can use 7 to 8 L, 100 kilometers, and even the 2.0 TSI will fit in 9 to 10 L, 100 kilometers, but you will not install LPG in any of them. Probably, because it is possible. The 2.0 TDI diesel needs about 6 to 7 L, 100 kilometers on average, although on the road you can easily go down to 5 to 6 L, 100 km. However, these are not values that can be considered exceptionally low. Here, the 1.6 TDI engine is impressive, providing values of 4 to 6 L, 100 kilometers. You can easily buy consumables in wholesalers, and mechanics will cope with the Superb, especially when it comes to diesel. Access to parts for petrol engines is a bit more difficult. Basically, there is nothing left that would be a secret in this model. Even the most faulty early generation TSI engines or 2.0 TDI-PD diesels can be revived with the right amount of money. Parts are not expensive due to the huge popularity and interchangeability of components for VW Group cars. In our opinion, yes, provided you really need the space that the Superb offers. Perhaps a better choice would be the also spacious but much cheaper or younger Octavia 3. Remember that the Superb 2 is a large car in length, but not in width, so for a family of 5 we would rather recommend the Passat. It is worth remembering the colossal boot, especially the estate version. The car is very pleasant to drive, and the more powerful versions 2.0 TFSI and 3.6 V6 provide great performance. For the most demanding, we recommend Lauren and Clement. Thanks for listening to me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and rate my video. If you know of any problems with this car that I haven't mentioned, be sure to write about them in the comments.
I have good news for you. Now, if you are planning to buy a used car, or learn more about your car, you no longer need to search for the information you need on the internet. We have collected everything in one place for you, on the website carme.pro. Here you can find out everything about the car, what breaks and at what mileage, any problems with engines, chassis or gearboxes, which trim levels are better not to mess with, and how not to lose money buying a used car. You will learn all this on carme.pro.